Hey guys, welcome to Shaney Entertaining's live stream. I hope it's live now. Hey guys, welcome to Shaney Entertaining's live stream. You guys can tell I'm starting to get regular on this. Regular time, regular Shaney channel. Hold on, I got it. There's always a volume issue when I got in the beginning. All right. Shaney bet, same Shaney bet time, Shaney bet or spider. Channel. Yeah, guys, so I'm really enjoying doing these regular live streams where I just shoot the shit about things that are in my noggin, the noggin. And yeah, and so like usually when I try to like want to be more positive, but nothing positive ever comes. Keep hoping for some positivity, and the world just keeps hammering down negative shiznit. It's been a long time since the word shiznit's been used, and I think I'm bringing it back. Someone brought sexy back. I'm bringing shiznit back. And get a shirt. Shiznit Entertainment. Yeah. Oh my God. There we go again with that shine. Telling you, they won't be letting me join in any reindeer games with this shine. But anyway, it's the light. I gotta find a way to scooch so that it doesn't happen. It's just such a bright light that it's so distracting to me. I see that just bling. It's like everybody's gonna wear glasses just to avoid the shine right there. Why, Shaney Entertaining, that nose of yours. Wait a minute, I could use you at the front of my sleigh. Honest Santa. Honest and for true. I'm like, now worth something. Anyway, guys, that's a bit of a little tangent there, as I tend to do in the beginning. But yeah, guys, so today I'm talking about the question I had in my title: is YouTube dying? And can Hollywood be saved? As long as also as media and stuff like that. What's been kind of permeating YouTube lately is a lot of YouTubers are complaining. About things, about what was it, Agenda 13 or whatever the hell that legislature was, about just channels, their subscribers being lost. Was YouTube up to shenanigans with Disney? There was a lot of talk about Disney actually, help making YouTube change the algorithms so that Captain Marvel, people who were who were anti-Captain Marvel, the regular YouTubers weren't going to be seen on or ranked on the key searches, and just the CNNs or the mainstream people are going to be seen only, which is kind of a shame. And if that kind of crap does happen, well, yeah, I could see YouTube heading down the toilet very soon. Because that just becomes corporate, and once it becomes corporate, we might as well watch the news, guys, because what's the point? It's the point of us talking if no one's going to hear it. Might as well, But I mean, especially if it's something that we like. A lot of people were ragging on Disney. Hey there, Stormtrooper babe, how's it going? Nancy Henrique, how you doing? You fed up like I am about all this? You probably are. Like people like I also noticed a lot of channels seem to be crying that I'm not going to name names, guys. I'm not going to throw channels under the bus. It's not what I'm here to do. I don't do that. But there is a lot of channels that are out there consistently complaining about the same things. Like they're like lately, a lot of channels are saying, well, I got to start a new channel now because I got struck down and I got a strike and they're after me and blah 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 blah. A lot of people are talking like that, and I kind of want to talk about what we as YouTubers are doing here, and we're kind of doing the same kind of thing that we're complaining about. And I think that we're all sort of have to check ourselves before we wreck ourselves, because we're wrecking ourselves, and we're wrecking our beautiful medium here in YouTube. Because here's the thing, guys, I've learned a way to succeed on YouTube if you guys want to succeed. So if you really want to succeed on YouTube, go get a piece of paper and a pen, and I'll tell you the secret to success of YouTube, right? And I've seen it been done time and time again, and it's as easy as pumpkin pie, which I don't know what that's supposed to mean, because I've never made a pumpkin pie, and I would imagine it's not that easy. It seems complicated. So keep that in mind. If it's as easy as pumpkin pie, you probably have to take directions and learn how to cook or bake. So here's the thing. You want to succeed in YouTube, so take some notes. Get your pencil, get your pen, your paper, or there's a typewriter, or whatever the hell you want to use. Jot some notes, right? Step 1, start a YouTube channel. Step 2, focus on whatever is a trending topic. And step 3, focus on a movie that's really popular. Movie, television show, something that has a big fan base and a huge niche market. Let's start with. Number 2, after you do that, talk a little bit about it. Say, oh, yes, I'm a Star Trek fan. I'm a Star Wars fan. Hey, I'm a fan of the Umbrella Academy. I'm a fan of whatever that's trending out there that people want to see and that's been long time. Indiana Jones. I'm a fan of whatever. Back to the Future. Then you bring out something that's modern, something that's coming back, right? Something that people want to see, or something like Captain Marvel, something that's big on the news. And then what you do is you complain about it 24 hours a day. You just go on your YouTube channel and you do nothing but complain, whether it's through live stream, whether it's through whatever, and just harp on that note. Whether you like it or not, it doesn't matter. Just harp on that thing consistently 24/7 forever and ever and ever, and just keep going, right? It's worked for a whole bunch of channels. I'm not going to name the names, but we'll see who would help. And just go after it. Just go after them and just say, I hate this for why. Oh, they're at it again. You just, keep their title headlines, and they're at it, and just keep going. And then when that runs out of steam, right, find the next thing to go and complain about, and then find that thing and then complain about that, and then find the next thing, complain about that. You'll see in a year or so, your channel will be at 100K, because that's what people want to hear. People just want to hear whining and complaining, and that's what we do. So there's your secret of success, guys. And that's the thing, though, guys. Here's the thing. People are finding that to be the case, and you're seeing a lot of channels exploit this sort of, I'd say, a hack. Hey guys, hey Zebulon, how you doing? There's sort of a hack going on, and that's kind of a hack, a YouTube hack, and people are exploiting this YouTube hack, and they're doing it, and you're seeing channel after channel doing the same thing. Harp on it and beat it to death with a stick of negative until you drop. Yeah, well, that's what you got to do. That's it, right? You gotta take that horse. You just gotta beat it right to the ground. Yeah, well, PewDiePie started off like, okay, Stormtrooper Babe says no, do what PewDiePie is not doing that. But PewDiePie started when YouTube was young. He pretty much pioneered the video game channel industry. And so it's hard. You can't compare anybody now to PewDiePie, because he started off a long time ago. And so, right now we're kind of in this, in the middle of things where YouTube is just so saturated, and it's hard to start a channel now because there's just so much out there. And PewDiePie was doing things nobody was doing at the time, or at least not as well as him, and maybe not as consistently as him. And he just kept harping on Minecraft over and over again. And that's what he did. He just kept with Minecraft over and over again, playing that game to death. Thank you, guys. Thank you. I try not to, I'll be honest, guys. I started that way. I did. Well, no, actually, I didn't start that way. So I lie. I started trying to be funny. That didn't work. I gave up, and I came back because I was so angry about The Last Jedi that I harped on that for a long time. And I was a bit of a hypocrite. But then I noticed what I was doing, and I said, whoa, hey, yo, this isn't what I want to be. Don't ask me why. I'm doing an impression of Uncle Billy. This is what I want to be, right? I don't want to be a guy who just complains all the time, because that's not why I got into this. These were honest opinions of mine. They were honest, and I really wanted to discuss them. But at some point, I started feeling I was just doing it because I was getting attention for doing it, and I could have continued doing it. And that's what people do. STD, you mean, right? Are you talking about STB or Star Trek Discovery? So like people like could talk about Star Trek or Star Wars or whatever and just hate on it forever. And that will lead to some form of success. It's kind of a sad state of affairs that we got people who just like negative news sells. And people just, you know, they just want to do it. It's just something, that it's kind of in all of us. We sort of get that way. I mean, if we're all honest too, like if I see someone talking positive about something, I'll be like, nah, but then you see someone talking negative about something, you're like, let's see what this guy has to say. it's kind of, oh, sorry. Yeah, it's sort of a human weakness that we kind of have to overcome. Because that's sort of the thing that we have that's inside of all of us that leads to problems. We gotta have to hold back this impulse. I don't know how to do it, but we have to. Which is why I wanted to talk about something, because here's the thing about what all these channels tend to do. We tend to we take the low ground. You know what I mean? It's the low ground, Danny. We need to take the high ground. And that's sort of what we need to do, is take the high ground. Because we're here trying to vocalize from, like, even those people who are just want to harp on, like, as bad as what Ryan Johnson and what these people did to the things we love. When we continuously bash and harp and complain, we become no better than they are. And then your moral high ground, and like people don't care. I know a lot of people say, I don't care about morals. I just want to succeed in YouTube. So who cares? And that's their right, you know. More power to you. But the problem is that if everyone took that same opinion, then YouTube falls apart and becomes crap. And what we're seeing now is that these complaining channels are complaining now that they're being demonetized. Oh, they don't want to monetize my channel. Why don't they monetize my channel? Well, think about it. If you're a channel that does nothing but complain all the time, it doesn't matter if you have 400, 500,000 people. If you're a company or a corporation that wants to advertise, do you want to advertise on a channel that does nothing but complain? Do you want your product to be associated with complaint, or do you want your product to be associated with something you know, good, something positive, right? And that's if I was like had a company, I wouldn't want someone who does nothing but, you know, complain all the time. And so, yeah, you could see that those channels will probably be, as much as those channels are going to get high in views, you're going to see a lot of companies just not want to monetize them. And so if you're not going to become monetized, what's the point? I mean, if you're there to make money, because that's obviously the point of these channels who are just doing it to keep, you know, they want to be monetized, they want to make money, and that's why they're doing it. More power to them, because that's fine. We all want to make money. Money's not a bad thing. It's just, you know, but it's how we get there, right? And then people are going to complain, well, why isn't my channel working? They're after me. Why are they attacking my channel? Why are they doing that? Well, everyone can stand from complaining once in a while. I love to complain. Ask my wife. I'm a big complainer. But at some point, though, you got to reel it in. I got to reel that in, that impulse. You know, you can't complain all the time. Sometimes it's a good balance. You got to complain some of the time. Stormtrooper Babe says PewDiePie checks out the latest memes now, and that's interesting, and he's usually funny. Yeah, I like PewDiePie. I'm actually one of those that kind of like him. I do think he's got a charm to him. But again, he's at that point where he's got what is this? What is his tally? Something. He's in the high millions now. And he can do whatever he wants. He doesn't have to worry about niche. He doesn't have to worry about his audience. He doesn't have to worry about any of that, because he's so popular. He could do whatever he wants. But when you're a starting out channel, you have to sort of build your audience first, and you build it from a niche, and then you build outwardly. So like you start with Star Wars, say, and then like he started with Minecraft and video games, and he built. But once you get so big and so large, you have the freedom to do whatever you want. I don't have that freedom. Neither did a lot of people. A lot of people don't have the same freedom because we're starting out, and we kind of have to build an audience. To build an audience, you kind of have to stick with a niche market and stay there for a little while, and that's kind of how it goes. But yeah, so like we're seeing channels that are just harping on the same things over and over and over again, and but the problem is they can do what they want. I don't care. But what I'm saying is that eventually, what happens with YouTube is that YouTube is going to counterattack that. And you're seeing it happen. You're seeing YouTube counterattack this, because that's not what they want their platform to be. They want their platform to actually have Nancy says PewDiePie has 92 million subscribers. With 92 million subscribers, there are some channels that don't have 92 subscribers. He's got 92 million subscribers, and he can do whatever the hell he wants. More power to him, man. I wish I was PewDiePie. Moment of honesty. I wish I was PewDiePie. Maybe there's some kind of channel transference device that we could just invent and just, you know, all of a sudden Shady Entertaining becomes PewDiePie, and that'd be awesome. Although highly unlikely. Anyway, so what I'm saying is you're seeing now the reaction to YouTube and other companies to this whole thing, because the more people bash and do this sort of stuff, the more the line becomes so blurred of what is real, what isn't real, what are people's real emotions, or what real reactions are. Are people just angry? Are people just trolls? We don't even know anymore. What is a real troll? What is a fake troll? What is a real reaction? What is a real reaction? We really don't know. You'd have to do your best Swedish impression all the time. Yeah. How about my Swedish chef impression? Oh, we're going to make the Minecrafty wafty. The Minecraft Swedish chef channel. That'd be great. Just Swedish chef cooking on his channel. That'd be a great channel right there. Or maybe the Swedish chef playing video games. Minecraft. That would be a horrible channel. Yeah, but you've seen the counterattack, right? The counterattack from what YouTube is doing. YouTube is now preventing people from monetizing, kicking people, you know, being harder on you. If maybe they would let your stuff go. Like I'm seeing people complain that they're being, what do you call it? They're getting copyright striked a lot, and they're like, well, why are they attacking me? Well, if you're attacking their company and their bread and butter, right? I mean, you have to understand. A channel, like a movie, has not just a director and a producer. It has actors, it has grips, it has all cast of thousands. These are all thousands of jobs and money that needs to be made and paid for these people. And if you're attacking them consistently all the time, and maybe they let your stuff go a couple of times, you're like, I don't want to be a dick. I don't want to, you know, yeah, you're using my stuff. I don't need to be a dick right now. But if you get popular enough and you start attacking people enough, and now you're attacking, now what you're doing is you're taking money out of their mouth, you know, bread and butter out of their mouths. What do you think was going to happen? What did you think was going to, if you're consistently attacking the same person over and over again, and not just one of you, you got hundreds of channels doing it. What do you think they're going to do? You think they're just going to stand by and say, yeah, we'll just let it happen? You know, and I'm not saying that these guys don't deserve what they get. So don't misunderstand me. I'm not saying that Ryan Johnson didn't deserve it, that Brie Larson didn't deserve it. I'm not saying that. You know, they deserve it because they started it. But we have to also understand that there is an extreme level you go that you have to draw yourself back from, because you pass the point where you become as bad as the person you're attacking. Right? It's like Batman beats a villain and throws him in jail. He doesn't beat a villain and just keeps smashing his face into the pavement over and over again. He doesn't keep doing that, right? Because if Batman did that, he'd be as bad as the villains. Although he did in the last movie. Not the last. But you know you get what I'm trying to say, right? The hero's always got to put himself above the rest. Exactly. Too much salt makes everyone salty. I like that saying, and I'm going to say it forever. No, I'm not. You'll get some royalties if I make a hat. You know, too much salt makes everyone salty. Yeah, and that's the truth. That's the sad truth of it, though. We have to sort of. I mean, there is a balance. Yes, complaining is necessary. We need to voice our opinion. It's definitely something I agree with doing. But at some point, you got to rein it in, guys, because it becomes you're just doing it to make the views. And now the end of the result is that you're going to kill YouTube. You're going to kill YouTube, because then they are going to attack YouTube the same way. They're all the companies are going to start being harder on us, and they're going to start drawing on us. And that's not going to help anybody in that case. Swedish chef sounds like old Prospector too. Old Prospector. Oh, Will Ferrell. I never actually watched too much of Saturday Night Live during the Will Ferrell era. I'm not sure why. I kind of fell out of favor with it. I think right after Adam Sandler's generation, I sort of kind of like stopped watching it. But yeah, so that's all I got to say about that, guys. That specific thing. I mean, also we got to like we have to watch ourselves. I mean, I see a lot of channels that talk about, well, I don't care that Captain Marvel's woman, but then and then at the same time then point out racial stuff, and like like we'll say on a review. I'm not naming names, but I've seen this a few times where they'll pick on like, I don't care that there was women in The Last Jedi or that Rey is a lead, but but then when they're doing their review of it, they'll say, and that Asian chick. But like really go hard on the Asian word. And I'm like, why? What's the point in doing that? There's no need. The fact that she's Asian had nothing to do with her character being shit. It's just her character was shit. She could have been any race. It didn't matter. Her character was shit. Now you saying and putting the emphasis on the hard Asian makes us think that that you might actually be a little bit of a what do you call it? Not racist necessarily, but at least have some sort of grudge against Asians or something. I don't know, but like it doesn't hold your point well. If you got to be above, if you're trying to say, well, I don't care about this, and then you kind of you do that sort of stuff, or anti-gay stuff or whatever, you end up being well yeah. Like, see, Rose was a bad character, but I've heard so many people when and a lot of channels did this. They kept emphasizing Asian. Oh, this Asian and bitch. I've even heard like quote unquote Asian bitch. And I'm like, why? Why do you have to go there? There's no need to go there because she's a bad character. The fact that she's Asian has nothing to do with it. It's just happened to be. She could have been any other race. White, it could have been anything. She could have been Swedish. Sorry, guys. If you're Swedish, I don't mean to pick. I just love that accent from the Swedish Chef, which I know is not a real Swedish accent. But that's what I'm saying anyway. Like we got to sort of hold ourselves a bit higher when we're trying to actually take a moral high ground. You got to be on the moral high ground. You never saw no one. You didn't see what Obi-Wan. I've got the high ground, and then roll down the hill. You just didn't do that. Rose would be just as weird if she was Swedish. Exactly. It had nothing to do with her being Asian, but a lot of the channels that I've seen do their reviews really would say on one hand, I don't care that there was a woman and I don't care, but then they'd really strict Asian, like hardcore in that word. I'm like, that proves that you got a little bigotry in you maybe. And maybe not, but that's what it sounds like. And and it goes both ways too. On the other side too, Brie Larson sticking her foot in her mouth. Like she has to choose her words a little bit more carefully. She could have said, she didn't have to say there's like her, the whole thing of saying white dude. I think that really kind of hit home, that white dude. I don't hate white dudes. Like that sounds like you do. I just sort of say, but the way you said it sounds like you kind of do. I'm sorry to say. Maybe you don't. But the fact that you said it like that made me think you might just hate white dudes. Like who talks like that? Hey guys, I don't hate white dudes. Okay. How about white guys, white men? Why do you have to stick the dudes in there? And then Jordan Peele, he also said something which, I don't disagree with what he said, but is how he said it. It's like Jordan Peele, I think if you saw in the interview or whatever, they asked him, like, is he going to have any white character lead roles? And he said, no, I've seen that movie before. And that's fine. You don't have to make whatever. You can make whoever lead your role you want. You don't have to put it. But at the same time, know that when you say that, it sounds semi-bigoted when you say, I've seen that movie before. It sounds like you got a grudge. It sounds angry. And it sounds like it's coming from a sort of a hateful place. And again, what you're trying to do is, I have a grudge against pirates. Arr! A grudge against pirates? What type of pirates? Smalley pirates? Butt pirates? Which kind of pirates? What are we talking about here? Yeah, that's what Stormtrooper said. But you guys, that's the whole thing. Like we we have to choose what we say. Some like, especially if we're trying to be like, if you're just with your friends, who cares? But if you're trying to take a moral high ground and trying to fight for a cause, whether you're fighting for what we like to call the Rebel Alliance, or if you're fighting as an SJW, fighting for equality, you can't talk about equality and then talk about, I hate white dudes or I don't want white dudes in my videos, in my movies. Like, you can do what you want, just don't. It kind of makes you sound like you're not who you say you are. And on both sides, it's not taking the high ground. And on both sides kind of have to, if we're going to get by this and past all of this, we're going to have to start, dimming down that sort of talk and just like talk to each other like we're people, that kind of thing. And be kind of mindful of that. Anyway, that's what I'm going to say about all that. I agree with you about the whole Asian thing is true. It's just bad character. People do turn into it. Yeah, well, that's the thing. It's like if you're saying on one hand, I don't care that there's women and blah blah blah, and then you don't care about diversity, and then you put a hard emphasis on the Asian, or I've even seen people say stuff about gay people, like, oh, I don't care that they're gay, and then this gay character, like, who cares? Like, did it matter? Like, why do you have to emphasize that if it didn't matter to you, right? It almost seems like that was protest too much kind of deal. Anyway, but that aside, I said my piece on that, and I'm going to move along. Something more cool. So, guys, I've also been trying to also figure out like what's killing Hollywood, and I've been working. I haven't been putting out a lot of videos lately. And I'm doing a lot of live streams more than videos, but that's because I've been really working hard on my documentary. I don't know what to call it. It's sort of not really a documentary, but it's kind of a documentary. It's kind of like what's the way to put it? It's to describe it. It's sort of like a cinematic documentary. Hey there, everything Star Wars. How you doing, bud? Thank you for coming. Yeah, so it's kind of like a it's not a mockumentary. What the heck? It's like a cinematic documentary. It's hard to really put into words, but it's partly cinematic and partly documentary. So, and it's a three-parter plus. So that's why I'm working on all three parts at the same time. That's why I'm taking my time on these videos, because I got a lot of videos that I'm having the back burner, but I'm trying to do this first because I want this to be good. And the whole basis of what I'm doing is trying to figure out how to create a perfect 80s style character. Yeah, good to see you too, man. So yeah, I don't know if you heard my rant in the beginning of the video about about the moral high ground that we have to take and the state of YouTube, but I don't want to repeat myself, so just rewind to the front of the video. Yeah, guys. So what I'm trying to do is the whole thing. I started to do a lot of research on 80s characters and why 80s characters are so impactful. And I'm talking about like iconic, right? I mean, think about this. Yeah, well, Article 13, that's just the beginning, guys, because I think we sort of have to. I'm just saying, responding to everything Star Wars just typed up Article 13. The thing about what I was saying is just that we're kind of together ruining YouTube through our channels, and we gotta have to sort of figure out how to fix this, because we're all sort of doing this song and dance where we're harping and being negative on the same things for so long that I think that they're starting to combat us. You know what I mean? They're starting to react to that, and they're attacking us back. So we kind of have to do a proper balance at some point of positive and negative material. Anyway, that's what I got to say about that stuff. So back to what I was saying. Yeah. So my research on it's funny. My research on what I'm trying to get at is we've seen such shit characters lately. We've seen such shit characters lately. Captain Marvel being the latest rendition. What do you call it? Obviously, we have Rey. We've got a whole bunch of characters that are just. And I don't know if you've ever watched that movie. It just came out recently. It was, shoot, what the heck was it called? There was a movie where I'm gonna go look it up. But anyway, there's been a whole bunch of movies that I thought would have been a lot better if the main character had more charisma and just was a better character. And there's been a lot of movies in the past that you could say that are like that. And well, Captain Marvel's definitely one of them. She's got absolutely no charisma at all. But that's just par for the course now. Most characters are sort of bland. Although Marvel has been probably the best at creating characters lately. But then again, they're not really creating the character. The character is already established, so they have a much easier task than to build someone from scratch. Like what I'm talking about is like an Indiana Jones. To build an Indiana Jones from scratch today, right? You know, how would you do that? How would you sell an archaeologist wearing a hat and a whip? Okay, so Zebulon says, I think they're afraid to write people with flaws. Also, they're afraid not to write self-inserts for people to project on. Well, yeah. Well, here's the thing. Here's the funny part about there's multiple different hero and character types, right? Like I'm just going to use Indiana Jones for an example. Indiana Jones could have very easily been Gary Stu character, right? When you look at and analyze Indiana Jones, he's liked. He's good at most things he does. He doesn't have a story arc. He doesn't go through a story arc. He's Indiana Jones from the beginning. He's Indiana Jones to the end. He's what I call a ready-made hero. He doesn't actually have an arc to his narrative. It's fine because that's not what his job is to do. Because his job isn't to have a story arc. His job isn't to learn a lesson. His job is to kind of embolden us. That's what his job is to do. So when you actually look at Indiana Jones, there's no lesson he learns. He's the same from the beginning to the end. Marty McFly is another one who is the same from the beginning to the end. He learns one minor lesson, which is kind of a tacked on lesson that they threw in the second film, which was, you know, how he would always rush too much headstrong and not, you know, anyone would call him, you know, chicken. He'd be, you know, but that was kind of a tacked on thing. But even in the first movie, he really never learned anything. In fact, his job was never to learn anything. Marty McFly wasn't there to learn. Marty McFly was there to teach. And that's the thing with Indiana Jones. He's not there to learn. He's there to teach. Some characters aren't there to learn, and that's fine. Some characters are there to teach. And that's why we follow Indiana Jones, because he's somebody we look up to. He's somebody that we want to be like. He's somebody that, wow, he's cool, but he's a human. He's not a superhero. He doesn't fly. He doesn't lift cars over his head. He doesn't shoot webs. He doesn't stick to walls. He's got a whip and a hat and a horse and a gun, and he's got his instincts and a little bit of luck on his side. And because of that, he's a hero. And he's got some cool music behind him. Da, 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 and which tells us when to be a hero. And we follow him and we relate to him because he's a human. But we also love his. See, Batman. See, you mentioned Batman, but the problem with Batman, he's rich, and not everyone can relate to being rich. Lara Croft is also rich. They're wealthy people who have everything at their disposal. Same thing with Iron Man. They're people, but they're also rich, which kind of pushes them sort of out of our. We can only relate to them to a certain level. We can relate to them on the level of, unless you're really super rich, then you're like, oh well, I really relate to Batman. But if you're not none of the mega super rich, most of the time, how many subscribers do I have? I'll never tell. Actually, guys, I might be starting a new channel soon. So it's on kind of irrelevant. But I don't know if I'm still debating on that. Exactly. Money is their superpower. Well, money and intelligence, right? And ingenuity is their superpower. Indiana Jones was a superhero without being super. And that's what makes him relatable to us more than even, say, any of these superheroes that we see that Marvel can bring out. Because while these superheroes we look up to, they just and Indiana Jones doesn't need an origin story, by the way. That's what I love about these characters like Indiana Jones. They don't need we don't need to go back and see their story, because it's irrelevant, because they're ready-made heroes. Indiana Jones is Indiana Jones. His character is his character. He's confident. He's bold. He's strong. He's smart. You know, he has a lot of luck on his side. But you know, sometimes we've seen it. People with charisma and people who take chances tend to have a lot of luck on their side. So, you know, it's not without the realm of possibility. So he's got that going for him. He's got that charisma, and we relate to him from that reason. So there are certain types of characters. Then you got the Rocky type of character. The Rocky hero is the hero that has to build himself up, like Luke's, like the hero's journey, like Luke Skywalker, the kid from the farm, the kid, you know, the guy from the streets who has to, you know, I have to build myself up, my own self-esteem, because I don't really have very much self-esteem, so I got to build it up. Which is complete contrast to Indiana Jones and Marty McFly. Those guys were born with self-esteem. They already had it to wazoo in the beginning. So we're kind of growing with those type of characters, whereas these type of characters, like Indiana Jones, they're already at max potential. Which so you got to when we're making Captain Marvels and we're making Rays, we have to understand that there is some kind of balance to be had to make an interesting character. So you can have a flawless character like Indiana Jones, who kind of is a Gary Stu, sort of. But see, there's a difference. The thing with kind of makes Indiana Jones not exactly a Gary Stu is that his tiny little failures. He never fails big. He has little failures, small ones. You know, he'll fall off a horse, or he'll fall, you know, he'll almost reach something, but not quite, and then have to pull himself up. It's tiny little, like even Marty McFly, you know, he'll fall off his skateboard, get back up. Things like that, that just sort of these tiny little, enough of those small little failures in your mind adds up to like, oh yeah, he's not perfect. Whereas if you have Ray who just never fails, or Captain Marvel who's never fails and you know, and is all unliked and never learns anything, but they have to have charisma to sell that character too, and the actors don't have charisma, and that's a problem too. You need an actor with charisma to sell that type of character, and they just don't. But Luke is a different style, and I love Luke because he's the hero's journey kind of character. Women make fools of Indy. He's terrified of bugs and snakes. Exactly. He forgets important things like his gun. Well, exactly. Those little failures, those little imperfections in his character, especially the snakes, which they establish right off the bat, which is kind of a tacked on scene when you really think about it. Like, why is there a snake in the bloody plane? There's no need for it. But it was there to teach us right off the bat, this is his kryptonite. So here's Superman. He does all this amazing stuff, but we right off the bat shows in that scene with the plane taking off and Raiders of the Lost Ark, what is this? Oh, it's my pet snake. I hate snakes. Right away, it establishes right in the beginning of that movie, right, that what his flaw is, right? And also the same thing with Marty McFly, his flaw, right in the first scene. The first scene of that movie shows his flaw, right? He comes in looking cool. He jacks up the speaker to like full blast, grabs the guitar and just boom, and then flies through the thing, which shows he's kind of impetuous and needs to be rein that impetuousness in, because that's also kind of a silly thing to do, is to ramp it up to full and then blast himself through. John Connor from the Terminator. Which one? You talking about Terminator 2? Which one are we talking about? Terminator 1? If we're talking about, well, I think John Connor only came in Terminator 2, so the kid. Well, that's a different type of 80s hero. That's what I call the 80s hero, the 80s monster hero. That's the 80s, like that's the E.T., the Elliot with E.T., where they're the kid hero. Yeah, his character is the kid hero. Like I said, I put him in the line of Elliot with E.T. You have your monster and you have your buddy cat. You have your buddy character, which is Elliot and E.T. You know, they're friends. They go through adventures together. John Connor, and then you have the Terminator. They go through adventures together. That's what they do. That's an also typical 80s type character, although that was a 90s movie, but it was an 80s type character. I'm talking about his character. But his character was always sort of like talked about in most of the movies. John Connor, your son's going to be this, your son's going to be that, your son's going to be this. So we heard about him as a legend more than we ever heard about him as a character. We only saw him as a character as a kid, but he still was a shadow. It was a shadow of himself. He wasn't who he was supposed to be. Not till later. But we never really got a good representation of John Connor, because the other movies weren't as good, and I think the character development started to go downhill, and they didn't know how to write him properly. So his Connor is, I feel like they never did his character actual justice in those. But Linda Hamilton's character, she was really good. and they did her. Like, she had that, again, rise to power hero style character arc, like Rocky, where she was intimidated, she was scared, she was sort of out of water. What the heck's going on here? But then slowly you see her get stronger as the movie goes on, and then she's the one who offs the Terminator at the end. Spoiler alert, guys. Sarah Connor, you know, that they her character went, and then you see her in Terminator 2, and she's now just like fully developed hero. You know, which is what those type of characters are. By the way, when you posted this on Twitter, I knew to come. Please post Twitter. I love your. Oh yeah, I don't go to Twitter as often as I should. I don't. I know everyone keeps saying you got to go more on Twitter. I'm like, I'm so afraid of Twitter. I'm like, someone's guy. I feel like if I say the wrong thing on Twitter, I'm gonna have 1,000 people go after me. I'm just scared. No, I should. I actually should. I should use Twitter more often. But yeah, that's why I did actually use Twitter today, because I never usually post. I usually kind of, surprise, I'm here, everybody, now show up. We just kind of arrogant in a way. But yeah, so that's kind of what I'm trying to do. Is I'm trying to, what's that guy here? So what's Twitter? I don't know. What's Twitter? It's a place where birds get together and they talk. And they talk to R2-D2 for some reason. Yeah. So what I'm trying to do with my documentary is I'm actually taking a really in-depth look at what made these 80s characters so special. And then from there, I want to build a new character from scratch in the modern era with modern sensibilities that can relate to all of us. All of us come together as one, and as happy, hands across America. just one hero that we all could sort of relate to, and we could all sort of build upon. And I want us to all kind of be a part of this whole process. So once I got my documentary sort of thing out there, we could watch it, tell me what you think, and then I want to, from there, I kind of want to do these live streams, and then together, guys, what I hope to do with you guys, like Everything Star Wars, Guy Harris, anybody who comes on to these channels, I hope I get some feminists and SJWs on board, because what I'd like for us to do is work together on building a new character, someone that we can all, like, I'll write the template and we'll say, like, this is what I think, and you guys can help me and say, well, adjust this and adjust that, and I'm easy to go like that. But what we do is then we built the character, and if maybe there's some people with drawing ability, we could storyboard it and write it out. I could draw. I'll try my best, but I'll get other people on board. And what we do is we create this awesome character, and we try to create a storyline, because you can't have a character without a storyline. You need an actual cool movie. And what I want us to do, guys, online, something unique and different. I want us to build up this character, and I want us to pitch this character to Netflix. I know it sounds like far-fetched, but I don't care. Like Mike Tyson said, reach for the sky, reach for the moon. Because if you only reach the clouds, you're still pretty high. So that's my kind of intent, guys. If we can build this thing into something, all of us together, and I mean all of us, whether it's Everything Star Wars, whether it's you guys, all of us together build this character that we can all, whether you're, it doesn't matter if you're SJW, if you're left, if you're right, if you're, pro Last Jedi, anti-Last Jedi, someone that we can all kind of get together and say, this is something that's represented all of us. And this character in this situation, we make our own movie kind of together, and we build a plot line, we build a story, we make a villain, we do all that stuff, and we work together on this thing, and maybe we make enough stink or build enough clout or enough make it into a movement that sort of grows far enough that maybe people from Hollywood hear about it, and maybe, just maybe, they make this movie. I don't know, but that's again, like I said, pie in the sky, but you got to make the pie. You got to try. It's too much rhyming. It would be a unique documentary, to say the least. Yeah, thanks. That's like, the thing is, I'm trying to make it not just not a boring documentary where we just talk, it's sort of a narrative documentary where there's almost like a hero's journey within the documentary that I'm making. So there's a problem, and the character in the documentary has to sort of learn, because he has to. He goes on a journey to learn these things, and he learns things as he goes along. So he's kind of becoming the hero at the same time as he's trying to learn about the hero. And then at the end, he realizes he can't do it alone, because we all have to do it together. So I already said it. Now we don't have to watch it. Yay! I don't have to make a documentary now, guys. Yeah, I'm still making it because it's fun and I love it. And so that's why I'm doing it. I hope so. Like, just so you guys are wondering why I'm not making as many videos, I'm really working hard on this. And I have other channels, I'm not saying who, that are helping me out with this. Unless they want to tell you, but and again, I want all of us to sort of be together on this. And Netflix is actually coming to Canada, guys. They're actually opening up studios here, and I know they're going to need some content. And so I would kind of hope to pitch it to them, and if not even Netflix. Here's the thing: if it's a great idea and we all come up with this thing and it's an awesome idea, we could just ask for, like, do a crowdfunding and get people on board who are actually, you know, maybe directors or just come like and help us, you know, make this thing happen. Right. So like that's the whole thing, is I'm trying to create an 80s style hero. And by that, I mean an iconic hero that stems the ages. And there's very few actual 80s style heroes out there now. It's almost none. And the last heroes that I would put in the category of an 80s style hero, and this is what I'm going to say. The last heroes that I would say are iconic in the 80s, in the vein of 80s style. Captain Jack Sparrow, it's 2000. I don't even know when that movie came out. 2001? I don't remember. 2001, Captain Jack Sparrow is an iconic character that was created by Johnny Depp. It was a movie that never should have actually been as good as it was, and it was only good because the character himself was. And so that's one of mine. And he's an 80s styles character because he's confident, he's cool, he's got his own unique style, and he, you know, and he drives the scenes. And you could take him out and put him anywhere, and it would be just as cool. You can put him in any situation, and we're there to watch him. Same thing. You can take Indiana Jones, but Indiana Jones and the Secret of Burger King sauce. We want to watch it. Da, 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 da. What's in that special sauce? That'd be a great Burger King commercial. Indiana Jones will search for the Burger King sauce. Da, da, da. You know, so that's the whole thing. And then other characters that I think are in the same vein, that sort of would be the Guardians of the Galaxy characters, like what's his name? Groot is a definite. Groot is a definite. Groot India is the KFC guy. What's he? He looks for the 12 special ingredients in KFC. That's the next Indiana Jones in the search for the 12 secret sauces or secret spices. That'd be great. But so yeah, shit, I lost my place. Where was I thinking? Come on, man, help me out here. What the heck was the last thing I said before this? Anyway, so the point is, oh yeah, the Guardians of the Galaxy characters and Groot, definitely a very 80s type character. Same thing. Well, actually, all the characters very 80s type, which is why I think that movie is almost patterned off the 80s. So it's like an 80s style movie. There's only one problem. The main character, which we would agree to be Star-Lord, right? His biggest issue, see, here's the funny part about Star-Lord, and he's almost an 80s character. He's just almost there. And I'll tell you what I mean by that. Remember the first scene where we see Star-Lord, right? He's in the cave. It's kind of like they set it up like this dark cave, and he's like walking, he's venturing through this cave, and then you see the silhouette or the shadow of a giant, looking like a giant rat creature, and then it's like, oh my god, this is kind of scary, and they're putting you in that scared mood sort of thing. Then all of a sudden you see him just grab the damn rat and then start singing. I forgot what the song was, but it said like they play the music in the background and he just starts singing. That's an 80s style character right there. You have the setup for this really dark, menacing threat, and then right away we see that the main character, is above the threat without any apprehension. He just grabs the rat and just starts singing as it's like it's a microphone, and he starts dancing like an 80s character would do. But here's where he stops being an 80s character, and that's when he runs into the villains at the end of the cave who try to who tried to take the Tesseract or whatever the heck he had, not the Tesseract, but that the gem thing he had. And they try to take it from him, and he's like, "Who are you?" And he's like, "Star-Lord." And then he goes, "Never heard of you." And he's like, "Oh, real man." Like, so an 80s character would never say that. An 80s character would be, "Who are you?" "I'm Star-Lord. Never heard of it." He wouldn't say, "Oh, man." He would have said, "You will. You will." He would never be self-defeating like that. He would never be all like, "Oh, you never heard of me? Oh, I need your approval, and you're not giving it to me now." Oh. No, an 80s character, Indiana Jones doesn't need your approval. You know, Marty McFly never needed your approval, neither did Ferris Bueller. None of these guys needed approval from anybody else. And if you didn't hear of them, they would say, "Well, you will. You will. Just hold off. You will." And that's what I mean by he's almost an 80s character. That's the answer I said in my head of you will. Oh, yeah. Yeah, you will. That's exactly what he would say. You will hear about me. That shows that he's confident. He doesn't care that you haven't heard of him because he's got so much confidence in his own abilities as a hero that he doesn't need your approval, and that he will prove himself through his actions in the future. You just wait and see. And that's what those type of heroes are like, those ready-made heroes, right? We don't have a story arc for him. We don't have a story arc for him. He's just, you know, he's always Star-Lord, and he's in that same vein as Indiana Jones style. He just like even same thing with Pirates of the Caribbean and Jack Sparrow. He doesn't have a story arc. He doesn't need to learn anything. He's there to teach you. He's not there to teach you to like do anything concrete. He's just there to teach you to be fun and have a good time and to be confident in yourself and somewhat see yourself slightly in his adventures. And that's what he's there to take you on a ride. And that's what Star-Lord was there to do. But when your hero starts becoming, "Oh, yeah, you never heard of me," like right away, you're like, you're not Indiana Jones, dude. You're just not. And that's kind of a Chris Pratt thing, right? Chris Pratt's got that sort of like he started off with the Lego, that Lego, what do you call it? The Lego movie, right? He was kind of that same character where he's like that schmo, that Joe Schmo guy. And that's what he does best, and that's good for him, and it works for that Lego character, but it doesn't work for Star-Lord, in my opinion. Not that he's a bad Star-Lord, because I think Star-Lord's a good character. It's just there's just a smidge, like a little fraction that's not 80s, and the rest of the movie's kind of good, but not kind of good. It's really good. It's an awesome movie, but there you go. That's why very few movies can do it like that. But that's what I mean. I'm working towards this thing, guys, and I hope we all work together on this. And I'll keep us all appraised on when we do it, because when I do post my documentary up, I'm going to do it in segments. So it's going to be part 1 week, part 2 the next week, part 3 the next week, maybe next couple of days. I don't know, maybe not a whole week. Then I'm going to do live streams, and we're going to work together on this stuff. And I'm going to try to get people on board with artistic abilities that. I tried just full disclosure. I tried to get the Star Wars girl, that Star Wars girl on board. She never responded to any of my texts or messages. I emailed her. I was like, "I got an idea. If you want to hear me out, this is Shady Entertaining. Hello, are you there?" I'm starting like sound like Star-Lord, but she never. James Clark. Who's James Clark? Everything Star Wars says James Clark. Who's that? Who that? Oh yeah, well, I mean, there's a lot of guys that could help, and I've, you know, I'll be perfectly honest. The reason I went with Star Wars Girl was because she has a huge channel, and I wanted to kind of, you know, spread this idea out there into the world. But yeah, if that doesn't work, I definitely need to get artists of any kind. It doesn't really matter. Even people who want to make movies, people who want to make music, because you need a score to music, you need movies, you need storyboards, you need scripts. Which I'm a writer. I could write that stuff too. But if there's somebody else who's a writer who wants to write with me, that's fine. The whole thing is it's a collaborative effort to sort of bring us all together through the creation process. And also maybe at the end, if we actually do come up with something pretty half decent, maybe we can put together a trailer or put together something that is something that we can demonstrate, you know, that look how cool this is. Alt Benjamin Johnson. Hey, how's it going, Benjamin? Ben Johnson, how you doing? Yeah. That we need to like sort of work together to do and to bring and to hone in, and maybe we can create a movement out of this, some kind of movement. Sounds a bit pretentious, I know. Even listening to myself sounds pretentious, but it's why not? You know, why the hell not? You try, you reach for those stars. And like I said, I want us all to be involved in this, and because I want to see things change. I do. I want to see people. I want to see not just characters realized, but I want female characters realized that don't have to be anti-male. I want to see, like, I don't even care. Like, you can have a transgender character. You can have. It doesn't matter. The character. It doesn't matter who or what the character is, because if you make a good character, you can put any race, sex, anything in it, and it will actually. It will be popular. It's just that's what I want to kind of teach Hollywood, that it's not about the sex or the gender or the race. It's about the character. The character comes first. You know, all that other stuff, it's superfluous. It's there you add afterwards. It's if you find the best actress, like let's just say we make a female character. We're gonna say, well, should it be black? Should she be represented by a native? Who should she be? She should be the best actress. The best actress that we find for the part. That's who she should be. We should line up a group of actresses. Doesn't matter the race, doesn't matter who it is. The best actress for the best part. That's all that matters. That's all that matters in the end. Because in order for the movie to be great, just like again, we'll take Back to the Future. They started with Eric Stoltz, right? And then they figured, just wasn't working. Just didn't have the comedic timing. And they really, really, really wanted Michael J. Fox. So they had to reshoot almost a half the movie, which the studios did not like and were really angry about. But they did it because they understood the importance of Michael J. Fox to the character of Marty McFly. And they didn't just toss any character out there, any actor out there, because otherwise they would have stayed with him. But the original actor, they didn't. They spent a lot more money than the movie should have been. Took more work to do, and they really angered the studios to do it. But in the end, look at the result. An iconic character that's like stands the test of time. They went Back to the Future. They did a whole bunch of reshoots for Back to the Future. They almost half the movie was filmed. And you can even see there's actually YouTube videos where you can see the original look at there were like certain scenes with the original actor. You can tell right away it's not the same. He's not, and the same thing with I think originally I think they wanted Tom Selleck to be Indiana Jones, and because of Magnum PI he couldn't do it, and so so they did that, but at the same time, they kind of got lucky on that one, because I think Harrison Ford would have. I mean, I like Tom Selleck, but he's a bit too jokey, and I think Indiana Jones' character needed to be semi-serious, and that's what sells it. Like he is never jokey. His character is kind of clumsy at times, and so the clumsiness sometimes leads to the comedy, but it's always played serious for Harrison Ford, which is what makes his character so awesome. Yeah, choosing the high ground. Yeah. And so, like, if we're going to redo Star Wars, right? The question is, too, if you want to redo Star Wars, let's just say we're done. We're done with this. No more. The trilogy's over. We want to start a whole new series with a new character. What type of character are we going to do? And I personally wouldn't want to do Luke Skywalker all over again. I wouldn't want to do that, like the hero's journey type character. We've seen it. Let's do something different. But I think I don't know what character to use, but I would like to do something a little different than that. Just because we've seen, well, the hero's journey is so relatable to all of us because we all feel like the same, you know, we always feel like that guy who's just like Joe Schmo walking around dreaming of big things and then dreaming of bigger things and like wanted to get out of our town. Was born in a small town, gonna die in the same small town. I was born in Tatooine. They're gonna do Old Republic. See, I don't like going back. I'm tired of going back to the future. Aren't you guys sick of that? Like, even with Star Trek, it's the same crap. You always want to go and revisit things we've already seen. I like the future. I like seeing things that we've never seen. That's what inspires me. That's what makes me feel like when I looked at Star Wars, it wasn't because it's stuff I already saw. It was stuff that I'd never seen. We'd never seen a lightsaber like that. We'd never seen ships and stuff fly like the way, like with the technology that they did in the 1970s. We've never seen that before. We've never seen creatures realized like that on the big screen. That's what made that stuff so awe-inspiring. But when you go back, you limit yourself. You limit yourself to like the constraints of the rules of the past and to canon of the past. And if you break out of the canon for whatever reason, even if it's accidentally, you're gonna get called on that shit, and people are gonna be like, "Oh, that was not in the canon, that was blur," and that's true. Like, people will do that because it's so hard to come up with new ideas and still remain true to canon if you're going back. I don't like. That's why I never liked going backwards. I like forwards. I like to see forward in time. A villain's journey. Yeah, we saw Villain's Journey. Wasn't that the? That was the old. That was the prequels. Was the Villain's Journey. that was the prequels. We saw that already. That was Anakin's voyage. It was the Villain's Journey. You know, I think I'm not sure what we could do, but maybe we can come up with a new style of hero. Imagine a Star Wars done like Pulp Fiction, where you have multiple different storylines and they all conjoin at some point, and we do it reversed. Like it starts at the end, and then we just sort of like have different heroes and different things, different units, and then they come together, and that's the beginning of the movie. That would be horrible, actually. If rules and laws are not changed, then the dead end of ruling over the living. If rules and laws are not changed, then the dead end up ruling over the living. Well, yeah, exactly. That's why I think going forward is the best thing to do, because the past is just, it's too complicated to make right. And I think a lot of people, they like them to see. Companies love the past because it's face recognition, it's nostalgia, it's that stuff, and it's stuff that they just want to sell brands, and they don't want to see. To go to the future, they got to create new characters, new heroes, new brands. To go to the past, it's safer for them because they're like, well, you know, we already have these characters established, so let's just use them. What was that movie? Rogue One. Like Rogue One's another one. Like Rogue One, again, we're trying to fill in gaps, and then everyone complained this didn't add up to the canon. This doesn't make sense. I think you're already creating problems by going back. Going to the future is the best way to do it. And unfortunately, we did the future right now. And the problem wasn't with the technology. The problem was with the characters, unfortunately, and how they handled the characters. Because I think we were sort of okay with The Force Awakens. And then all of a sudden, I mean, yeah, there were some issues with it. It was sort of a rehash, but we kind of accepted it at some, you know, and as long as they filled out the gaps they left, we were kind of okay with it. You know, that's why you saw a lot of channels build themselves up on what if, you know, these projections. But you know, going into the future now, I think we should just, I'd love to see a brand new storyline happen with new characters. They'll probably end up doing it in the movie, but I don't trust them to make characters anymore. And that's why we got to show them. We got to show them how to make characters. And that's what the whole crux of my discussion today. Yeah. Well, it's a big universe, and we don't need to see them ever. We don't need to see them ever again, really. It's sort of a big universe. But you know, I don't mind using the characters. Ray is the only one I really mind, because Ray is just not a very good character. She's not a well-defined character, and I think there's still Poe is salvageable, Finn is salvageable, BB-8 is fine. Ray is, to me, the only one that she's not salvageable, and the reason is she's already had 2 movies where she hasn't lost. In order for her character to be anything half decent, the third movie will have to be 9 hours long, and they'd have to kindly reboot her whole tale and not reboot her tale, but retcon her tale like crazy. I don't know. And she's not a good actress. Not that she's not a good, I don't even know, but she's not a charismatic actress. And I'd like to see a little more charisma out of her. And she doesn't have her own destiny. A hero has to have a goal, a dream, a destiny, someone to strive for. Luke Skywalker wanted to be a Jedi like his father. That was his rule. That was his goal. That was his destination. You know, Indiana Jones wants to make sure that the relics of the past are there for everyone to enjoy, not hoarded or used by evil empires or by rich, you know, people hiding them in their house. He thought that, so that was what drove him. Everyone has sort of their goal. Rey has nothing. Same thing with Captain Marvel. What is her goal? She was just going along with the plot line towards the end. You know, what is her dream? What is her destiny? What does she want to be? How type of hero does she want to be? None of that was ever discussed. No one ever knows until the end. And then she just suddenly wakes up her powers, and she never, you know, we still don't even know at the end of the movie who she is, what motivates her. What we know is that she's motivated by SJW propaganda. Make women powerful. That's little girls. That's all she's. I mean, that's also not a real hero. Doesn't just think about one segment of the population. Hero tries to save everybody, not save one little small sector of the population. But that's what I mean. We have to care about the characters that we develop, and that's the most important thing. Obviously, the movie and plot is important too, but I think you can navigate around plots and storylines because everything's been done to death, but the characters are what drives us with them, that makes us follow them. Anyway, guys, so that's my time. It's 4:30 and I gotta get going. Thank you guys for watching. I think I'm gonna do try to do this every week. Try to put out as many videos as I can while I'm doing a bunch of things. What characters aren't just cash cows, Guy Harrison said. Well, in the end, there is an element to trying to make money. Sorry, I just want to finish the thing. There is an element to trying to make money to everything. You know, to say that the 80s weren't trying to make money, the 80s were really cynically trying to make money. But they did it in a way that was like, what do they want? They weren't trying to force us what they... See, the 80s didn't try to force their beliefs on us. They were trying to work with us. They were like, well, what do kids like? Kids like this, this, and this. So let's give them what they want. And it'll sell. And what happens is everybody prospers that way. The kids make the kids get the heroes they want, and they make the money. So there's a way everybody can win. There's no reason why, you know, we should just get our characters and nobody makes money. Everything, if things are done properly, everybody prospers. We get a great character, and we make money. And that's great for everything. It's great for industry. That's great for jobs. That's great for us. That's great for everybody. But when you start off with this cynical character that just has this idea in mind and doesn't care, and I'm going to push this idea on you, and you don't really want this character, but we think it's not the hero you want, it's the hero you need. You know, you start pushing that stuff on us, and then that's where we get annoyed, and then nobody wins. All right, so now I'm really going to go, guys. Thanks for listening to me. Shaney man brings reason when there is not any. Thanks, man. I really appreciate it, guys. Like I said, maybe next time, I really would hope you guys would join me on this discussion. I mean, like, actually take part next time I do this. And maybe tomorrow. Maybe I'll come back tomorrow. If you guys want to do this tomorrow, let me know. It'd be awesome if we all get together and discuss this topic. It'd be awesome if we just get together and just shoot the shit on some character ideas and what we like and what we don't like. That'd be kind of awesome. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. I'm gonna go because I gotta go do my husbandly duties. All right, guys. See you later.